What's up, everybody? Dan Martell here, serial entrepreneur, investor, and creator of SaaS Academy. In this video, I'm going to share you how to throw a laptop. Here, man, just take it. Anyways, I'm going to share with you how to growth hack your startup to your first 100,000 users. And be sure to stay to the end where I talk to you about how to get access to my high tempo testing training taught to me by the man, the legend, Sean Ellis, specifically around the North Star metric. So I'll share that with you at the end. So if you're new here, I built a company called Clarity, and it was a marketplace for entrepreneurs to get advice over the phone by other entrepreneurs. And when I built it, I thought, man, this is the ultimate tool for micro celebrities and Twitter, personalities and bloggers to monetize their advice. And I literally was like, this is going to be incredible because it's going to allow people that have knowledge to give access to the people that want it and create an economic system to reward that. And I even had a charity component built into it. And then I launched, and there were crickets. I literally brought 300 people together in a theater, gave them access to it. I had, Dragon's Den, Shark Tank experts, entrepreneurs like Mike from FreshBooks and, Ryan at Hootsuite, and all these incredible people available for this room. And a bunch of people did not do any calls. And what I realized, and I'm going to walk you through the different strategies to growth hack, because that company eventually grew to hundreds of thousands of users doing calls over the phone. But for the first 9 months, it was nothing, traction, and then eventually growth curve up and to the right. We eventually exited the business. So the big lesson there was to nail a niche. What I've discovered, I'm going to walk you through how to do that, is you need to find somebody that for us, for Clarity, was an entrepreneur that invests in themselves. If that's not true, you can be an entrepreneur. A lot of people, I just want to let you know, there's probably out of 100 entrepreneurs, 90% of them are not growth minded. They don't read business books. They're just accidental business people, entrepreneurs. It was the 10% of the people that actually went to conferences, bought books, hired a coach, that ended up being our best customers. Once we understood that, everything else from a marketing point of view changed, and I'm going to tell you how to take that and implement it in this video. 1, nail a problem niche. Now, a lot of people tell you like, oh, you need to, the riches are in the niches. Here's the way I think about it is you can focus on a small group of people because you don't want to cast the wide net, right? So the whole idea is you can try to be everything to everybody. It's too wide, and then you have like, if it's the holes in the net are too big, the fish swim through it, or you can kind of focus on less of the overall ocean and close the squares on your net so that you can actually start catching the right fish. Okay, so that's the concept. But here's the reality is the problem niche. They need to know. So 1, they need to know they have a problem. So too many people are building technologies for people that don't know they have a problem. 2, they need to be actively looking to solve the problem. If they're not, it's going to be really hard because then you got to convince they have a problem, and then hopefully they start looking for a solution. And number 3, they have the means to invest either time or money to make the economic engine work for you. So that's number 1. I could teach you all the marketing hacks and growth hacks that you'd ever want to learn. But if those things aren't true, you have a problem niche that wants your solution, everything else is going to fall flat. Number 2, map the universe. There are so many great examples of this, of companies that said, okay, once I understood who our core customer was, how do I find a way to discover them in a programmatic way? All right. So for me, one of my favorite examples is one of my investment portfolios, Steve at Payroll Hero. They were working on trying to deploy a payment or payroll solution out in Asia, and they were having a hard time finding early adopters. So what I always ask is, what's true? What are the characteristics about that customer, that early adopter? And long story short, after evaluating a bunch of different options, we realized that for them, their best customers, the customers that were using and loving the product today, were all using Google Apps for domains. Now, this might seem obvious because everybody watching this uses, Google Apps or Gmail for their corporate email, but there's still a lot of people in the world that don't. They use, Lotus Notes, if you remember that one. They use, Outlook, etc. But once we realized that, then we could programmatically take all of the potential customers that they had, run them through a filter, check what's called the DNS, the domain name service, of the email record and find out if they were using Google Apps for Domain as their email client or their tool, and filter out all of the, let's say, 100,000 potential customers down to the 25,000 that would be incredibly perfect for them. So I think of this all the time, both in, what's true about the customer? How can I programmatically discover? There's so many great companies out there like Full Contact for social media or social contact data, Built With for technographic data. I mean, there's so many different ways for you to figure out from a URL or an email or a database the specifics that's true about your best customers, and then filter out and ask yourself, now that I've got that, how do I get in front of them? Number 3, value in advance. Now, here's what I've always loved and what's true for me is I love using education-based marketing. I think it is the most powerful way. This video is an example for me to add value in the market, teach my customers something extremely powerful that'll get them a result. And if they want to, find a way to do that faster or quicker or easier, they can kind of move forward down that path of that discovery. And that's true for all the software companies that I work with. For the most part, we want to figure out a education-based strategy that's going to allow your best customers to discover you because they're searching for a problem they're searching for a solution they have a problem on. The other thing is, so you have two ways. You have content and you have product. The product is splintering off typically. It's a splinter strategy. Some feature of your core solution that maybe people are paying for and making it as a free widget, either as a Chrome extension, etc. I mean, so a great example is Vidyard. So Michael Litt, one of my best buds, he actually took one of their video solutions inside of Vidyard and front-loaded that for free as a browser extension, now called Go Video, that is arguably one of the fastest growth channels that they have to attract top of funnel awareness for their core Vidyard product. So much so that HubSpot actually integrated Go Video into their sales CRM solution. So that's on the product side. On the content side, again, value in advance, 2 strategies, content or product. On the content side, Unbounce, a company that I invested in, that team there, Rick and the team, they crushed it on building education-based content that really serves their customer and their market until they're ready to buy a solution like Unbounce. And it is their #1 channel, and it's helped them grow exponentially. So that to me is just from a growth hacking point of view, those are 2 really powerful strategies. Number 4, drafting strategy. So one of the strategies I think is powerful is find somebody else that's further along that has access to your core customer and figure out a way to draft behind them. Recently I got into road biking because my good buddy Jarrett said, hey, don't worry, you will not look funny in spandex. I still don't think that that's the truth. But anyways, we got a road bike and I went out with them. And what's cool is, if you've ever done it, if you tuck in behind the lead person or somebody's a lot stronger in front of you, they make the whole biking process so much easier. They cut the wind for you. They create a giraffe to pull you forward so that you can keep that same level of momentum without exerting probably half the energy required to keep that pace. And I just think about that in regards to partnerships and growth in our business. There's a strategy I teach called OPN. So I got it from, in the real estate people, they call it OPM, other people's money. In the growth market strategy, it's OPN, other people's networks. So if you think about it, Airbnb did this beautifully by essentially using Craigslist network to get distribution, right? Instagram did this beautifully using 2 networks, the iOS network and their growth. If you look at Instagram, what it launched and the growth of that market, and Twitter, people posting on social, specifically Twitter photos. Before that, Twitter didn't really have a great photo solution in the feed. Using that drafting strategy in OPN, trying to find a network that has access to your perfect customer and build some kind of publishing solution. And this easiest way to do this at an enterprise level, if you're watching this and you're like, that won't work for me because I'm mid-market or enterprise SaaS, is what's a report that you could share publicly? Something that your tool could generate for the customer that they would feel comfortable sharing publicly. That would be one. So come a widget. We did this with Clarity where we created a profile widget for our experts on our platform and we allowed them to add that to their website. So we got exposure through their personal networks. But with the report, you can either do it publicly or even just sharing it amongst their team to get other people aware of your solution and using and collaborating around the tool to help it make it more sticky. I mean, think about Slack and the communication channel that they created and inviting other people to collaborate around channels made the product sticky and created a kind of a viral exposure inside the company network. So drafting strategy to me is a powerful way to think about it for your SaaS, your product, your business. to find somebody that's already moving forward, that it talks to your core customer, and draft behind them. Number 5, rinse and repeat. Now, this might be simple to say, but hard to execute. What I've seen companies do is they have something that's working and they're starting to see a little bit of traction and light around a growth strategy. And instead of doubling down and investing in it, they keep moving to other things. So what I want to say is rinse and repeat around the things that are working to kind of build more velocity. But at the same time, if you feel like you've tapped out, if you're 3 iterations in, right? So if you do a 2-week dev cycle, like a Scrum or an Agile process, if you're 3, 2-week cycles, a month and a half in, and you haven't been able to move the needle on that specific channel, then go back and reintroduce another growth strategy or idea that your team came up with to make that happen. But rinse and repeat around all of these. But if you've got traction, reinvest in trying to make it grow. And if you don't, add a new one. And having that discipline of focus and measurement will be the unlock for you in building a growth strategy, gets you 100,000 users. So quick recap. Number 1, nail the problem niche. Make sure that they feel it and they want a solution for it. 2, map the universe, ideally in a programmatic way. Number 3, add value in advance through content or splintering off a product feature. Number 4, drafting strategy behind other people's momentum in what I call OPN, other people's networks. And 5, rinse and repeat using a high tempo testing framework that I'm going to share with you next. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I want to share with you a training I did called High Tempo Testing, taught to me. Full credit goes to Sean Ellis, the creator of this. He's also essentially the originator of the term growth hacking. He was an advisor in my last company, Clarity. He's been a friend for almost a decade and one of the smartest marketing minds out there. And I taught it at my recent SaaS Academy Intensive. I want to give you access below. If you click the link, you'll get access to that specific training. Specifically, you want to figure out what your North Star metric is, your NSM. That alone will make all of these strategies I just shared with you work like lockstep. So click the link below, get access to that. If you like this video, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to my channel. And if there's anybody you think this video could serve directly that you care about, feel free to share it with them. As per usual, I want to challenge you to live a bigger life and a bigger business, and I'll see you next Monday.
Yeah, you're gonna throw the computer, right?
I'm going to throw it. Throw in the laptop. Catch.